Hi, I'm Heather from Car Seat Site. Today we're going to be installing the Nuna PIPA. It's a rear-facing only infant car seat. It has some fabulous features. It has rigid latch, a built-in lock-off, and a load leg, which Nuna calls a stabilization leg. It rear faces from 4 to 32 pounds and from 32 inches or less in height. So let's get started in installing this car seat. Before we install the base, we need to remove the carrier from the base. So we turn it around, and I know it's confusing. Most carriers have the button for removing right here. This is for removing the carrier from a stroller. The removal button is actually down here on the base. What that does is that actually lightens the load a little bit. It removes some weight from the carrier. So you just come down here, lift it, and then you can remove it from the base, just like that. And now we're left with just the base. Before we get started installing a base, we need to set the base in the vehicle on the seating position where we want to install it, because we want to look at any recline angles to determine if we need to set out the recline foot, if the base has a recline foot, or if we need to use any pool noodles or rolled towels. Just looking at the recline angle indicator on both sides, if you have one on both sides, you need to look at both sides. I can see that the bubble is not touching the line. The bubble for the Nuna PIPA has to touch the line on both sides, and it's not doing that. So what I'm going to have to do is put out the foot. The foot is on the bottom of the base. I'm just going to pull it out and lock it into position just like that. Now I'll set it onto the seat just like that. And now it's actually touching the line on both sides. And now I'll get ready to actually install. Let's discuss whether we want to install the base on the outboard position, which is the outside position, or if we want to install in the center. Clearly, I have decided to install it in the outboard position. The reason I've decided to install it on the outboard position is because I want to take advantage of the rigid latch and the load leg. Rigid latch is an important safety feature. Other technicians prefer the center seating position because they feel it's further away from side impacts, which is also very important. I prefer the outboard seating position with rigid latch because that rigid latch basically locks that car seat base into position. It's not going anywhere. With the load leg, that crash energy is mitigated. The base is basically coupled to the vehicle. You will still get a very tight installation with the seatbelt and the lock-off, and I'll do another video with the lock-off as well with the seatbelt so you can see how tight you can get it that way as well. Either way, you're going to get a superb installation with the Nuna PIPA base. You can feel comfortable either way. In some vehicles in the center seating position, there's a hump in the footwell and you won't be able to use that load leg. The load leg is also a very important safety feature. It does take that crash energy and it keeps the seat from dipping down towards the front of the vehicle. The load leg absorbs that energy. So let's take a look at how to install using rigid latch. There are some tricks and tips. It's not always a 2-second installation. Before you get started installing the Nuna PIPA, look for your lower latch anchors. You can find your lower latch anchors by looking for the symbols on your seat. They may be buttons like this or tags on the seat, and mine are directly below those buttons. They're fairly easy to find right in the seat bite. That's what we call this crack. Right here is the bite. What I'm going to do next is I've already put out the foot, the recline angle foot, and I'm going to take these lower connectors and spin them around and put them into position so that we can just attach them straight to the car. One thing I also want to do is, because I'm using the load leg, the stabilization leg, is I want to get it out of the bottom of the seat, out of its storage area, which is right here. And I'm going to put that down because once it's attached to the car, once it's actually installed, I'm not going to be able to access that leg. So I just get it out, put it down, and I line these up with the lower anchors. Make sure that The stabilization leg is put in a position that is good and not going to interfere with the installation. Just line those up and push. One thing you can do too is you can use your leg and put your leg right here at the edge of the base and just push with your leg. And it clicks on just like that. That's it. It's installed. You can see it's not moving. It will move a little bit depending on your vehicle. Mine is pretty tight because of the cushioning on the vehicle seat right here and the upholstery, so it's not moving at all. But if you have an older vehicle or a vehicle that doesn't have very much cushioning right here, it'll move a little bit on the anchors, side to side, just a bit. So don't be too worried if it does move just a little bit side to side, but it's not going to move forward at all. Let's make sure your stabilization leg or your load leg is not affecting your angle, because if the load leg is out too far, it can affect your angle. As you can see here, my bubble is not touching my line here, and I know it was before when I tested it, so I know that my load leg is probably altering my angle somehow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the load leg so that my base is sitting flat on the vehicle. We don't want any airspace underneath this base. We want it flat on the vehicle seat. We need to adjust the load leg so that it's properly positioned, not only for positioning of the load leg to get it into the green on the indicator on the load leg, which is right here, but also so that we're properly positioned on the angle indicator so that the bubble is actually touching the line on both sides. So we adjust the load leg right here, lift up and adjust it just like this. Actually very easy to adjust. Mine's been in class a few times, so things happen in class. And get it so that it's green. There we go. Okay, and now on our angle indicator, we've got the bubble touching the line. So everything looks great. Perfect. And there's no space under the base at all. It's actually touching the vehicle seat right now. To remove the PIPA base from your vehicle when it's installed with rigid latch, use the removal buttons. They're on both sides of the rigid latch connectors right here, and you just need to pull them both towards you. Sometimes when your vehicle seat has a lot of cushioning or a lot of pushback on the base, they'll be a little bit more difficult to release. So what you can do is use your leg and just push up against the base and then pull on those buttons and they'll release, and then the base just comes right out, just like that. Then move those rigid latch connectors back into their storage position and you're good to go. If you want to travel with the base or move it from car to car, I would suggest putting this into its storage position because it kind of sticks out and gets in the way a little bit. There's a button down here at the bottom that you have to press, otherwise this isn't going to move anywhere. So you just press this button and that recline foot tucks down into its storage position. The load leg also stores as well. Just fold it up and tuck it into its position as well right here. Thanks for watching my video on how to install the Nuna PIPA with latch. If you like this video, please share it with your friends and subscribe to my channel. Thanks.